Should we just start by talking about your background? Where were you born?
I was born in Manchester in St Mary's, the one that used to be opposite the palace in town.
Oh, the old
Yeah,
St.
the old
Mary's.
one, 1917 I was born.
1917?
Yeah, the 1st of November, 1917. Lived in Wellington Street in Moss Side, but spent a lot of my childhood in Fulneck in Yorkshire, the Moravian settlement, and Fulneck. Leonard Hutton, you know the cricketer, Sir Leonard Hutton?
Yeah.
He lived there. He bashed me eye with a cricket ball when I was a kid.
What did your parents do?
Well, my mother, well, she always... Well, actually, I was adopted when I was 7 days old. And I think my father was a regular soldier, and I think when he came home on leave, I was shipped off so he wouldn't find me. I didn't know I was adopted till I was 14. The biggest shock of my life.
School at Princess Road?
Yeah.
And when did you leave school?
When I was 14, I hated school. I wanted to be outside all the time.
So what did you do then?
Well, I worked in various offices. You know, when you could get a job and be somewhere for a fortnight, 3 weeks, come home on a Friday tea time, said to my mother, I don't work there anymore, I start a new job on Monday. I don't come home without a work, you know. And when the war broke out, I was at Universal Stores in Devonshire Street. Anyway, I joined the army in 1939. I came home and said to my mother, I'm in the army now, nothing you can do about it. But a big incident in Cardiff in 41, so I was discharged, I was ill, and they said they had to stay at home for 6 months, but they wanted women in the fire service, so I went off one day and joined up. I said, I'll come in the fire service, but I want to be a driver. Mm-hmm. So they taught me to drive. And me and another girl were the first two to pass the driving test. And it was a police driving test. It was very, you know...
rigorous.
They didn't want women in the fire service, did they? You know, and... anyway, then I was stationed at Withington Fire Station for a couple of years. And I used to drive a petrol wagon at one time. Not like they are today. It was a big steel line, open lorry with 4-gallon jerry cans in it, and the petrol was pink. Ambulances and fire engines had pink petrol. They dyed it, so if anybody found with pink petrol were in trouble. Yeah, I used to go around filling fire engines up and things like that. It was an open lorry, steel lined, like, you know. Don't leave it or anything, and be surprised at people that tried to buy petrol off you. But
So you drove those round?
Fire stations, you know, there are a lot of auxiliary fire stations. There was one at UCP Tripe Works in Ladybarn, and there was one at Parswood where near where the Parswood station is. Had little petrol pumps there, or Green Goddess type fire engine, which I drove from Withington Fire Station sometimes.
Presumably you needed to do that when there were actual raids going on and things like that.
Oh yeah, there was fire. We went to fires and all sorts. I tell you what, there was a big fire in Abbey A, and the bales of cotton were on fire and it burnt for days. Then I remember being in town. We were in D Division I was in. If that was quiet, he was sent somewhere else, and went to the docks a few times.
Did you have any hairy moments with it?
Oh yeah, quite a few. With me being little and squashable, they used to shove me through holes, and I thought, well, what will I find when I get through it? You walk round the outside of everywhere, you know, on the outer...
Of what?
Of the floor. You tried to walk round the outside.
Oh, so you didn't fall through it?
So you wouldn't, you know, because generally burnt through the middle. If anybody set the chimney on fire, first thing you did was pour stuff down the chimney, you know, water. And
not petrol.
this house we went to, and the chimney was on fire, so we didn't bother knocking at the door. You had to put the flames out. There had to be no light. And she opened the door, came in, and of course there was soot and water all over. Oh, she played hell, this woman did. Said, well, you shouldn't have let the chimney on fire anyway. I'll sue you, but she didn't, because she didn't stand a chance at all of doing anything, did she? And, I remember being on the docks a few airy moments. Well, then I went to Salford for a bit, driving the divisional officer there. Ashton, his name was, and when the plane came down near the golf course, I was on that, at the side of Manchester Royal, the street down there where the Irwell came round. A plane crashed there. We were down, of course, because it was 8 o'clock, you finished your shift, you couldn't knock off and come home. You had to wait to be relieved. Sometimes you'd be there 16 hours because they were out when it was very bad. The plane came down and it managed to miss the houses at Bagley and landed on the allotment. It was a New Zealand plane, and we had to go to that. And I remember I had to go in the ambulance with, I don't know whether he was a pilot or the navigator, but he died before we got to the hospital in the ambulance, you know, and he was burnt terribly. Saw some terrible things burn. And the first time I ever saw a dead body was the house. I don't know, it'd been a raid or something in Moss. I had a great big house, and the farmer said to me, don't go in the room on the left. He said, because some burnt bodies there and it's not nice. So I said, OK. Anyway, I went out to the DO and he said, I think I've left my lamp in the room on the left. And I thought, oh my God, like that. I said, yes, sir. And I went in and there was 3 burnt bodies, they were dead, and the smell stays with you all your life, burnt flesh. And it came out and I said, I can't find it, sir. He said, oh, you'll do. He said, the driver on the other shift would have fainted. Denmark Road to Hardwick Green. We walked along a saw. He went first and I had to hold his belt. We had lamps on, you know, and the rats and all sorts. I'm like this. Every side, but he said, oh, come on, you'll do, you know, all that sort of thing happened. Apart from all the fires and burnt bodies, got used to it in the end.
Were the fires mainly due to the bombing that you were
Yes, oh yeah, there's some, Manchester, there was some terrible bombings there. And,
Manchester Road?
In town. Sometimes we went there if you were slack or anything, and Floyd Avenue, there was 4 houses bombed there.
Floyd Avenue.
And then opposite me, a bomb landed in their living room.
When you were driving like these petrol lorries around,
yeah,
I mean, even if a spark had got you, that would have been it.
Yeah, it would have gone up.
Weren't you kind of very worried about that?
Well, yeah, I'm used to being frightened.